Welcome back to Psychotech Labs. What are we up to today? Well, we have our homemade variable power supply that we built. I promised we were going to be using it for something. Okay. So, somebody had done a lot of stuff that wasn't right on this linear. The 400 volt circuitry is disabled. All the center tap wires are cut right there at the transformer. So the keying circuit in this, keying circuit has a keying tube. All tubes have a plate. The plate's where you pump the high voltage into. Okay, the maximum plate voltage of that tube should be about 400 volts ish, 325 to 400 ish. The relays are 120 volt DC. So normally there's a dropping resistor and everything else. They had the circuit for the keying circuit coming right off the main primary B plus voltage, which is 930 volts. Now, I've had a couple people tell me that's the way they did it. Well, I just can't see that. There's no damn schematic on this thing. This is an actual first generation from the early 60s. It actually had the fuses in the plug. So what do? Well, we're going to bring up the variac and we're going to start at 120 volts DC going into that circuit, and then we're going to slowly crank it up to around 400, and we're going to be watching for the relays to key and everything. So first off, we need to turn it on and hope it doesn't blow up. We have my patented Phantom blast shield just in case the cap blows. So let's turn it on. Okay. We have to let that warm up for a minute or two. Then we're going to turn on the variable high voltage power supply, and we're going to dial it up to 120 volts DC to start. That's the voltage that the relay is. So we're going to start at that point and then start bringing the voltage up. We can go up to 500 volts on our homemade power supply. Amperage wise, I think it should be okay. Those relays, they are kind of older, and yeah, they might draw some power. So we'll see what happens. We have a 1 amp fuse on the output, so that's what our diodes are rated at. So that's about what we're rating the power supply. Okay, it's warmed up. Let's start putting some power in to the keying circuit. Okay, 120 volts. Nothing. We're going to dial it up to 200 volts. Nothing. And dial it up to 300 volts. At 300 volts, the plate of the tube should start getting happy. Nothing. We're going up to 400 volts. Oh my, I have a relay keying. Take it up to 450. 400 is about where I expected the relay to key, and that's about what's happening. Now it's keying and we got power. Bury that 200 watt scale. Hello. Hello. Audio. Audio. Okay. Hello. 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 Look at that. We got bird watts. Oh no. Okay. What did we learn, boys and girls? Well, I have one wire that's sticking out, one of the center tap wires is sticking out farther than the others. They were pretty much damn near flush cut out the transformer. We are going to take that wire, we're going to rig up a little rectifier bridge, a couple capacitors, which is basically what we got in our little home built capacitor. But yeah, you notice that pretty much 400 volts was the magic number. If I would have pumped, had it, you know, the way it was wired, and pumped 930 volts in, I'm pretty sure I would have blown all the field coils in those damn relays, and that would suck balls. Okay, this thing's got to bleed off. We're gonna let it bleed off, and we've got to discharge the capacitors in the linear too. So we're gonna let some of that stuff bleed off on its own, like the high voltage supply that we made. That's right, the Psychotech Labs HV 500 power supply. We still got to label it. Can I do that? Oh yeah. Because I got one of these fancy label makers, so we still got to label that bad boy. Doesn't that sound like fun? Hell yeah it does. Alright, that's enough horseplay here at Psychotech Labs. And so now you know what you got to do. If you don't have schematics, none are available, and if you think something's not right and you need to test your theory, there you go. You just make yourself a variable high voltage power supply, start pouring the juice in. Remember, laws of physics, they can't be broken. That tube requires about 400 volts for the plate, and at 400 volts it got excited and let that relay key 10-4. Psychotech Labs, everybody. Stay tuned, we'll be back. We'll build a little internal supply for it. Welcome back to Psychotech Labs. So we built a little rectifier circuit. We were able to successfully solder a wire on that center tap. We tested the voltage and we're getting like 350-ish So I don't know. We're gonna, I guess, see what we get. So we're gonna put our meter back to DC mode, and we're gonna wanna take all the cables. Try setting my ground again. Here, stick on that. And then access the hot output. Turn that on. Plug in the Variac. 5 amp fuse in the Variac, so if it blows, might just be because that's too low. Plugging in our water-cooled dummy load. Nothing left to do. Turn it on. Menu is on. 100 volts already. $300 volts. 400 volts. This isn't going too well. Getting more voltage than I wanted. I'm gonna have to probably put a dropping resistor in this sucker. Okay, we're gonna have to rethink this. I'm thinking dropping resistor, yay! Because we're getting too damn much. Okay, we're gonna call that a wrap for today. And I'm going to take some time to think this through. See how we're getting too much voltage. Maybe I should have just made a half wave rectifier instead of a full wave. So yeah, we're going to think this project through and get back to it tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Psychotech Labs signing off. Okay, so basically I built this secondary rectifier circuit with capacitors. We were pumping 330 AC into it, something like that, and we were getting double that. So my circuit was acting like a voltage doubler. Well, got to thinking, I didn't even need that in the circuit. Half of the circuit's already rectified by those diodes there. So that's the ground part of the circuit. So I looked at the Maverick 250 and they just showed tapping right out of the center tap, you know, fully rectifying the two red wires, your main B plus, and then the negative side of that is rectified. So I I'm now getting 425 volts out of the center tap, DC. So that whole rectifier circuit that I made can get ripped and tore out of there. This thing should key up fine, be fine, the world's gonna be fine. Yep, I'm happy, everybody's happy. That's Psychotech Labs. So tomorrow, finish ripping that up, we'll wire it up, we'll test it out, and pray to God that He keeps me safe and that this works. So stay tuned for that. It's getting too close to beer 30 to do anymore. So hasta la vista. Till next time. Okay, I'm hoping this will be our final Variac test. So we've soldered it all up. We got the voltmeter on it to monitor what our voltage output is. We don't want over 450-ish too much, so let's juice it and see what it does. Looking good. There's 100 volts. $120. We're showing a little bit on the low side for the voltage though. Don't know if that's going to be enough. Well, let's find out. Damn it. Well, that wasn't good. I swear I had that son of a bitch screwed in there. Audio. Well, shoot. Just not quite enough when we put her under a load, damn it. God, I was so hoping this is gonna cure everything and I'd be done and the world would be happy, and nope. Well, let me think this over and we'll be back. Okay, so what we did, since using the center tap wasn't producing quite enough voltage, I went ahead, put a dropping resistor on the B plus side, brought it up with a Variac. I'm just keying up okay. Yeah, so we'll warm it up here and show that it's working. Oh yeah, warming this baby up. Okay, so we put a big auxiliary air intake fan on it. That's blowing cool air down on top of the transformers, and it's blowing cool air on the suction side of the little fan they have in there, which is woefully inadequate. This fan here helps make it so it'll run nice and cool. So, audio. So we're doing about 2¼ watts dead key, swinging to about 14. Audio. Getting 525 out of it. Now, put a little driver linear in there and drive it with about 25 to 35 watts input. That'll get you a lot more power, but right now we're just tickling it. So dead key 250 audio, doing about 550, which is about what you're going to get with just a low drive radio like that. Cool, huh? Yeah. Well, that's about it for this project. It's alive, it's back from the dead, looks way better than it did when it was brought in. That's about all we're going to do to it for what we're getting paid to work on it. So, I mean, we get paid for parts, labor, and everything else. So we were able to stick within the budget. Alright, catch y'all later. Psychotech Labs signing off.